Previously, I gave permission for my YouTube videos related to a lull of 2020 and related to CE5 experiments to be admitted in higher divine courts for purposes of discovery during litigation. And I'm making this video because I also want this video to be included for purposes of discovery in higher divine courts. That's a legal term from courthouses here in America on the earth plane. And I wanted to say that my African first husband, he taught me things about indigenous people that my family had never bothered to teach me, and that they left me to just learn the hard way by trial and error. And I had some serious damages and physical injuries as a result of that from my circumstances. You know, my African husband told me things that my family probably should have, but they didn't. And also, in addition to that, when I was married to him and I had a vision which stated in writing that Native American people are mixed race people, the first person to ever surprised me by validating that was actually an extremely elderly mestizo man from Nome, Alaska, named William Maloya. He's college educated, and 5 years ago, this really old Alaskan man, who I just stumbled across by coincidence when I was living in North Dakota, he said that some of the words in his native language is nearly identical to words in the language of Black Aboriginal Australian people. And he was telling me that thousands of years ago it was black people who came here from Australia and populated the Americans, and it's the language of Black Australians that matches the language of his people. And a couple of months after this elderly Alaskan guy told me that stuff, there was a genetic study that was published which established genetic ties between tribes in the jungles of South America and Black Aboriginal people in Australia. So what that really elderly mestizo guy told me when I lived in North Dakota was actually true. So even though he is a mestizo from Alaska, he actually told me some things that validated what I had been seeing in my visions, which is that yes, Native Americans are mixed race people. They're a product of Black Australian families that have lived here for thousands of years, and also Asian families that have lived here for thousands of years. And also, not only so, this knowledge that was introduced to me in a vision, while I was with my African first husband, it was validated for me by an Alaskan elder who's college educated and probably in his 70s or 80s. My vision was also validated by a scientific study that quickly validated what the Alaskan elder said to me. And then after that, I met two mestizo girls from the reservations in the Dakotas, and they showed me a movie about little girls from Australia. While the white women were not in the shelter. These two girls showed me this while we were alone and the other ladies were gone. And in the movie, they showed me when the colonizers came, it was men of their own race who was hunting down children to help with taking the children away from the mothers, to send them to camps to grow up without their mother, or to send them to either concentration camps or foster homes or both. And, in the movie I got to see the ordeal that the children went through, under the hands of colonizers, and how their own men did a lot to, to help with breaking up families among their own people. So, when it comes to my understanding of what an indigenous person is, I was lucky enough to have validation early on through unexpected visions, through unexpected encounters with elders in their 70s and 80s. I was fortunate enough to see scientific genetic studies and archaeology that verified what indigenous elders told me about the role of black people on this continent for thousands of years. And I was fortunate enough to have unexpected validation again from white mixed mestizo girls from the reservations who showed me movies and talked to me while the pure white women were not present. And, and since that time, I've discovered there are other young black women like myself who have had encounters with elders in their 70s and 80s who have confirmed things they've learned through visions from ancestors or guardian angels or wherever it comes from. I've learned there's other young women who have had unexpected validations from, just a variety of sources, including historical and scientific, and that they're trying to educate young people. And it's important to have those kinds of unexpected validations early on, because with most people, they tell you you're not allowed to be more than one thing.